Good evening, everyone. It's Anna. Welcome to Virgo. Um, okay, we're stepping into your concealed longing reading for February. As always, take what resonates, softly release the rest, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay connected with future messages. So let's break down what hidden yearning is revealing to you. There's someone carrying weight in their chest about your absence, while simultaneously working hard to ensure you never discover the depth of what they're experiencing. The missing isn't casual, it's consuming. It affects their daily functioning in ways they hide from everyone, including sometimes themselves. You cross their mind with relentless frequency. Your memory surfaces at random moments. They catch themselves reaching for phone to text you before remembering the distance between you. They see things you'd appreciate and feel the loss of not being able to share them. They carry conversations with you in their head that never make it to actual communication, but they're concealing this experience deliberately, not allowing you to see the struggle, maintaining appearance of being fine, of having moved on, of not being affected by whatever separation or distance or dynamic exists between you. The gap between what they feel internally and what they show externally creates specific kind of suffering. The loneliness of missing someone while pretending you don't, the isolation of carrying feelings you won't express. In the particular tension of February, where romantic longing intensifies culturally, someone experiencing hidden missing might be approaching their breaking point. The season makes concealment harder, makes the ache more acute, makes the desire to reach out more powerful. Valentine proximity amplifies everything people are already feeling about love and connection and loss, creates pressure on whatever dam is holding back their expression. Let me illuminate what patterns might be active in someone who misses you while hiding that missing. In the psychology of concealed longing, several motivations drive the hiding. Pride frequently creates this dynamic. Someone doesn't want to appear weak or needy or affected. They ended things or you ended things, and admitting they miss you feels like admitting they were wrong, like losing face, like exposing vulnerability. They've spent energy protecting. So they suffer privately rather than risk the embarrassment of acknowledged yearning. Your specific situation might involve someone experiencing exactly this pride-based concealment. They miss you terribly, but their ego won't allow admission. They'd rather endure the missing alone than risk you knowing they're not as unaffected as they project. Every interaction with you or mutual connection requires performance, requires maintaining facade that takes energy they're exhausting themselves providing. Notice if you've encountered someone who seems overly casual when you interact, who performs indifference with slightly too much emphasis, who mentions being busy or happy or fine with suspicious frequency, who changes subject when conversation approaches feelings. These overcorrections often signal opposite of what's being performed. The harder someone works to appear unaffected is less than #0. 5# is greater than, the more affected they likely are. Some concealment stems from fear rather than pride. Fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish, fear that expressing missing would be unwelcome or would create awkwardness or would damage whatever fragile connection still exists. They'd rather keep missing to themselves than risk your negative response to knowing. Rather preserve distant civility than gamble on vulnerable honesty that might be rebuffed. You might be the object of exactly this fear-based hidden missing. Someone wants desperately to tell you they think about you constantly, wants to confess how much your absence costs them, wants to ask if you ever think about them too, but they're terrified you don't feel similarly. Terrified confession would make things weird. Terrified vulnerability would be met with indifference or worse. Pity, so they stay silent and suffer the wondering alongside the missing. Still others hide their missing because circumstances prevent open expression. They're in other relationship. You're in other relationship. Work dynamics make it inappropriate. Family situations complicate it. Geographic distance makes it impractical. The missing is real, but acting on it feels impossible, so they carry it privately, honoring it internally while keeping it hidden externally. This reflection invites you to consider who in your reality performs being fine in ways that feel slightly forced. Let me clarify what they want to communicate specifically indicates about desire for connection. Want suggests active desire, not passive acceptance. They're not just willing to communicate if you initiate, they actively want to reach out, to break the silence, to create contact, to hear your voice or read your words or see your face. The wanting is strong. It's just being overridden by whatever is preventing the communication, by pride or fear or circumstances or uncertainty. In the conflict between desire and inhibition, the desire might be winning gradually. The want might be growing stronger than whatever keeps them silent. They might be approaching tipping point where need to communicate exceeds fear of communicating, where missing you becomes more painful than risk of reaching out, where maintaining pretense costs more than dropping it would cost. Your situation might include someone building exactly this kind of momentum toward contact. They've been resisting for weeks or months, but resistance is eroding. February energy is weakening their defenses. The cultural permission to be romantic is making their reasons for staying silent seem less solid. They're moving from I can't reach out to maybe I could reach out to I need to reach out soon before I lose the chance entirely. Some people who want to communicate test waters first. They don't jump straight to I miss you terribly. They start smaller. They like your social media posts. They comment casually. They send meme or article with thought you'd find this interesting. They create low-stakes contact that allows them to gauge your receptivity before revealing depth of their feelings. Each small interaction is reconnaissance mission. You might be receiving exactly these tentative reaching out attempts currently. Someone who hasn't been in touch suddenly appearing in your digital spaces. Someone finding reasons to mention you to mutual friends knowing it'll get back to you. Someone manufacturing excuses for contact that seem thin because they are thin. The real reason is, I miss you and I want to talk to you, but they're not ready to say that directly yet. Others planning to communicate are building toward more substantial outreach, drafting messages they're not sending yet, planning what they'd say if they had courage, waiting for right moment or right catalyst or right level of desperation. The communication is forming, just hasn't manifested yet, but the energy of it exists. The intention is active, even if action is pending. This reflection invites you to consider, have you noticed any increase in indirect contact or attention from someone recently? Let me address what February specifically activates in hidden missing dynamics. February creates cultural container that makes romantic expression feel appropriate and expected. Someone carrying concealed longing experiences this season is both opportunity and torture. Opportunity because everyone's talking about love and connection, making their desire to reach out feel less random. Torture because every Valentine reference reminds them of missing you and highlights their inability or unwillingness to do anything about it. In this particular seasonal pressure cooker, People who've been successfully hiding their feelings sometimes lose ability to maintain the hiding. The environment wears down their resistance, makes staying silent feel more painful than the risks of speaking, makes loneliness of missing someone while pretending you don't more acute than usual. February doesn't create the missing, it intensifies missing that already existed and forces decision about whether to continue concealing it. It's probable whoever misses you secretly is experiencing exactly this February intensification. Every commercial showing couples reminds them you're not together. Every Valentine display makes them wonder what you're doing and who you're with. Every romantic song triggers memories. The missing that was manageable background noise most of year becomes overwhelming foreground reality during this season. Watch for contact arriving during specific February windows. The days approaching Valentine's when anticipation builds. Valentine's Day itself, if they're alone, and the aloneness highlights missing you. The weekend following Valentine's, when initial emotion settles but longing remains, these temporal hotspots often break people's resistance to reaching out, make them brave or desperate enough to communicate despite all reasons they've been maintaining silence. Some people use February as permission structure. They've wanted to contact you for months, but they couldn't justify it outside of seasonal context. Valentine's season gives them framework. It's Valentine's, so I thought I'd reach out. Becomes their cover story for doing what they desperately wanted to do anyway, but needed acceptable reason to execute. The timing is convenience disguised as meaning. This reflection invites you to consider is less than #0. 5 is greater than if someone reached out during Valentine's season. Would that make their contact more or less significant to you? Let me speak to what you might be sensing about this hidden missing. Often we feel when we're being thought about intensely, energy moves bidirectionally. When someone focuses on you consistently, carries you in their consciousness regularly, misses you actively, that attention creates ripples you might detect, not through mystical means necessarily, through subtle cues you're processing beneath conscious awareness. In the phenomenon of sensing someone's hidden attention, you might be experiencing exactly this right now. Specific person coming to mind repeatedly without clear trigger. Dreams featuring them with unusual frequency. Impulses to check their social media or reach out yourself. Feeling like you need to look over your shoulder. These aren't always just your own processing. Sometimes they're you picking up on the energy of someone thinking intensely about you. It's important you trust these subtle knowings rather than dismissing them as imagination. Your nervous system evolved to detect attention. That ancient wiring still functions even in modern context. When you keep thinking about someone for no apparent reason, it might be because they're thinking about you. When you feel pulled towards someone you haven't been in contact with, they might be experiencing matching pull toward you. Some people receiving this reading already know who misses them, have suspected for weeks or months, have picked up signals despite person's best efforts at concealment. If that's you, this reading is confirmation. Trust your instincts. You're reading the situation accurately. The missing you've sensed is real, even though it's being hidden. Others have no idea who this could be, multiple possibilities, or no clear candidates. If that's your situation, pay attention over coming days and weeks. Watch for reveals, for increased contact, for behavioral changes, for someone who's been distant suddenly appearing more present. The hidden missing often doesn't stay hidden forever. Pressure builds until expression becomes inevitable. This reflection invites you to consider, if you had to guess who secretly misses you, who would come to mind first? Let me reveal what you should consider before responding if contact arrives. Someone finally admitting they miss you after hiding it doesn't automatically obligate your reciprocation. Their vulnerability is brave, but it's also their choice, their timing, their agenda. You're allowed to have different feelings, allowed to have moved on while they were stuck, allowed to not want reconnection even though they're offering it. Their missing you doesn't create your responsibility to fix their missing. In the ethics of receiving someone's delayed vulnerability, you can honor their honesty while maintaining your boundaries. You can appreciate that they're being real with you while still being real about your own feelings. You can be kind in your response without being available in your actions. I appreciate you telling me this doesn't have to mean, and I feel the same way, or, and I want to try again. It's critical you check yourself before responding if communication arrives. Do you actually want this person back in your life? Are you interested because you miss them too, or because being missed feels good regardless of who's doing the missing? Would reconnecting serve you or just serve their need to alleviate their discomfort about missing you? Your answer determines how you should respond. Some people receiving confession of hidden missing immediately soften. The message triggers old feelings, old patterns of caretaking, old desire to make the other person feel better. They forget why distance existed. They minimize past issues. They focus on current vulnerability and overlook historical problems. They give chances they shouldn't give because saying no to someone's expressed pain feels cruel. You might be vulnerable to exactly this kind of premature softening. If you are slow down significantly, don't respond immediately. Remember why you're not together currently. Remember what it cost to create or accept that distance. Remember whether this person has actually changed or is just uncomfortable with consequences of not changing. Missing you isn't the same as being ready to show up for you properly. Others respond with suspicion or resentment. You miss me now? Where was this when it mattered? Why should I care about your missing when you caused or accepted the separation? These defensive reactions are also valid, but they shouldn't necessarily dictate response. You can feel anger and still choose measured engagement rather than reactive rejection. You can honor your hurt without being controlled by it. This reflection invites you to consider, what would you actually want if someone confessed they've been hiding how much they miss you? Let me close by speaking to what this dynamic offers you regardless of outcome. Whether someone reveals their hidden missing or maintains their concealment, whether they reach out during February or stay silent, you're learning something about your effect on people, about your impact, about mattering to someone enough that your absence creates notable void. That's not nothing. Even if you don't want the specific person who misses you, knowing you're missed confirms you're someone worth missing. May you receive confession with clarity. May you respond from wisdom, not guilt. May you honor your actual desires. Someone carries hidden missing. Communication might be forming. Your response is sovereign choice. They don't want you to know how badly they miss you. Someone is concealing depth of longing they experience about your absence, but they want to communicate. Despite hiding their feelings, they actively desire contact. February. Seasonal energy is intensifying their missing and potentially weakening their resistance to reaching out. Cultural permission around romantic expression is creating conditions where hidden feelings might surface. And your work is preparation without assumption, trusting your instincts if you've sensed someone's hidden attention. Staying grounded in your actual desires rather than getting swept up in their eventual revelation. Remembering that someone missing you doesn't obligate your reciprocation. Knowing that you can appreciate their honesty while maintaining your boundaries. Understanding that their communication, if it comes, is invitation, not demand. Trust this. Trust that you're worth missing. Trust that someone's concealment of their longing reveals more about their fears than your worthiness. Trust that you don't owe availability just because someone finally admits they want it. Trust that you can be compassionate toward their pain while protecting your peace. Trust that the right response comes from your truth, not their need. Stay clear, stay boundaried, stay sovereign. They might reveal, you might receive. Response remains yours.